David Vukits. I'm the Vice President of Strategy and Insights here at Chempetitive Group. This morning we talked about modeling and segmentation as it applies to a marketing context.
A few questions so we can help people better understand this segmentation process. Why should a company worry about segmenting their customers to begin with?
Companies want to think about segmenting their customers because customers are not all created equally. In fact, some are more equal than others, some are more attractive, some have pretty specific needs, and if you can break a large unwashed population of customers into a handful of more homogeneous or alike segments, you can create solutions for each of those that work much better for the smaller group rather than trying to force fit a single solution against people with very different and disparate needs.
Once you've identified these segments of homogeneous groups, how do you know which ones are important for you to target?
When you look at those things in aggregate, you'll see that, in fact, some of the segments that were defined are very attractive from a revenue perspective and want to buy these kinds of things from your company, and others want to do other things, and some frankly will be buying very few products infrequently and might not be all that attractive. And in fact, to get back to your question about what would you do with this, or how would you do things with this, it's those that might not be as attractive or purchase as frequently. One might tend to de-emphasize their marketing efforts against them, where you don't spend as much money trying to entice them to buy more. You may not do a whole lot to entice them to buy at all.
So if segmentation is really breaking current customers into these homogeneous groups, then how can a company equip themselves with the knowledge and information they need on potential prospective customers?
Well, there's a couple answers to that, and it's always dealing with the new prospects is always difficult. Once you develop a segmentation scheme, one needs to refresh the file from time to time. So as you get new customers on board, you need to, on a quarterly or perhaps semi-annual basis, stir them into the process where you attach all the same behaviors to them and assign them based on those behaviors to a segment so that they're part of the whole. When you look at the demographics that might be attached to prospective customers, you can know something about them as well, even though they haven't done a lot of interacting with you. So where the clustering helps on the back end, once they become a customer, figure out what kinds of things are appropriate for them. The predictive modeling that you do up front can, in advance of them actually becoming a customer, tell you something about what they're likely to do and how they're likely to behave.
Should you spend more efforts on targeting the smaller percentage of the market, or spend efforts on the less ideal yet larger segments?
Interesting. Again, it's an old question. How do you allocate marketing spend against your customer base? And if you go back to what we talked about earlier, this notion that all customers are not created equal, there's an old adage in sales from 50, 100, 200 years ago that in fact you get 80% of your sales from 20% of your customers, and nothing has changed in terms of doing business. Some of your customers are going to be your very best ones, and they probably deserve the most, the biggest share of your attention. But I guess I don't think the technology has changed behavior in terms of the way customers behave. You still have that 20% giving you 80% of your sales. It just helps, these tools just help you define who that 20% is, and from there you're able to better align your spending against marketing initiatives, targeting towards them, and the people who are not the 20%, but maybe the next 10 or 15% below that, you can spend a little less. And for the people who fall into your bottom 20 or 30%, you can kind of ignore them because you're not making a lot of revenue from them. Accepting this, however, where some of the predictive modeling says, gee, these folks look like they could be a terrific customer on a go-forward basis, even though they're not buying a whole lot from us now. And then you can look at in the future saying, I'm going to take a risk for a short time with these people who look like they could be attractive in the future and try to do some guerrilla work where we focus a lot of resources against them for a while, seeing if you can stimulate them into buying more.
how can a company, a marketing agency like Chempetitive Group, help organizations effectively segment and identify prospective customers?
To get it going, there's some initial footwork that we can help with a lot. It also requires the use of specialized PhD level statisticians and the like of those kinds of people. And we have lots of those people in our stable here of resources. So Chempetitive Group can help you both organize your thinking around what could be done with this. We can marshal your data into a format that makes it usable for the statistician. We've got the statisticians on call ready to put this stuff into play. And then the most important thing is once you've got all this stuff organized, all these models developed, we'll tell you how to build strategy and tactics around using them in a way that's effective for you. So building the model is only a third of the process. The really important thing is the way that you can exploit it from a sales and marketing perspective.